Greetings, everyone. I am Dr. Wolf, here with quite a few people, and we just watched Road to Friendship. Oh, goodness.
It's okay, babe. It's okay. It's okay.
Rainbows, rainbows, Twinkies away.
Oh, my son Quinn.
We seem to have, quite a few guests, so why don't we introduce everyone first? Starting over here, all the way on the extreme.
Oh, I am Lightning Bliss. I even came up with my own friendship chant that me and Golden Box hope to do in one day in a review.
This is DeWilstonator, aka Thespio. Oh, and sorry about the window stock. We kind of had to break in to get here.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Katie Patterson, aka Midnight Sonata.
I am Cecile de Quille, and I saw this episode in French.
Oh, yes.
Ooh la la!
Oui, oui.
Hi, I'm Josh Scorcher, aka Firebrand, and this episode was, I think it was alright.
Interesting.
Quite interesting.
Thing is that I love road trips. It's especially with my older brother. I love just driving around, and yes, you know, like those really nice gas stations where you get all like this really good food. I love going to those gas stations. I love just picking stuff out, and oh man, and I just love going around and seeing what kinds of seeing the site and seeing what kinds of things, and just listening to the audio of DBZ Abridged.
Of course.
You take it up a notch. Me and Katie, we just do carpool karaoke all the time.
That's what we
No, we don't. No, it's we always have to find something to listen to, and right now we're listening to the audiobook about the making of Princess Bride.
Yeah, you were telling us about that last night.
All right.
Question is, do you end up going to one particular restaurant waiting for hours in line, even though there are so many other options?
Well, it really depends on the restaurant you're going to.
Yeah.
Even to the point where you've wasted so much time that all the inns are closed.
Reservations are your friends.
Yes,
They are
do
your
it.
friends.
Do it.
That's the thing, is that usually we've never had an inn or a hotel be closed. We've never had, as many road trips as I've been on, we've never had as many problems as Starlight and Trixie had.
Right.
Well, you must be something special then.
No, I can share with you a road trip when we were on vacation in Seattle by my host, Misty Phantom. We attempted to go to the beach, and on our way we were going to stop by one of the local fish restaurants because my husband, Sub-Zero, really loves seafood. We overestimated how long of a trip this would be. We thought it would take maybe an hour, maybe two. It took more than 3 to 4.
Oh.
And we also underestimated how long these restaurants were going to stay open. So by the time we got there, which was around 7 p.m., they were all shut down.
Where were you that the restaurant closes at 7?
This was an old sea town, an old seafood town, a big tourist attraction, but they have a curfew apparently.
Apparently.
What? I would have just bitten the bullet and just go to a Red Lobster or something.
There was no Red Lobster. There was nothing available in that town after that. Those were the restaurants. So we were kind of up Trouble Creek without a paddle, and we had to...
Let me addendum that. Reservations and research of what's in the area and their business hours.
I think most of the problems that come from road trips are from poor planning.
We did not plan accordingly. I kind of just left everything up to my husband and our host because I thought they were planning everything. I did a check with them, and I probably should have.
Yeah, I think it's important for all party members on a road trip or vacation and stuff like that to do at least a little bit of planning to sort of combine into sort of one game plan. Everybody has to do their fair share.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember there was this one road trip where Jeremy and we actually played Dungeons and Dragons in the car.
You don't have a problem at all.
No.
No, clearly, no.
You encounter a class 3 speed bump. It knocks your dice under the panel.
No, this was like the long stretches of road. This was like when we were driving to Jeremy's Boy Scout camp job in Montana.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
By the way, Kate,
Yeah, spoilers.
Sit down! I don't like you.
But anyway, so yeah, this was a road trip episode with Starlight and Trixie.
Your
and,
two favorite characters.
Now,
It's okay, babe. It's
before
okay.
we get into Starlight and Trixie, at the start of the episode,
Yes.
I want to give special mention. There was a moment where Lightning Bliss said that she had her faith in Season 8 restored. What was that moment?
Sunshine, sunshine, ladybugs awake.
clap your hooves and do a little shake.
Yes. It's like they had so many opportunities to do that in episodes with Twilight and Cadence, and they didn't.
Well, they don't have to do it every time. It's going to get old. Fast.
Josh, is there something you'd like to
Josh is off knocking his head against the wall.
Josh, honey, sweetie, come back to us.
But Will,
That's a good boy.
Will, I thought I was your sweetie.
I'm sorry, Katie. I ship it.
say?
No!
Oh.
No, oh wait, where are my manners? Sweetie's not even here.
All right.
Although I will say within the show, Flurry Heart has reached the phase of, Mom, you're embarrassing me.
Yeah, because I think this was Flurry Heart's first viewing of this friendship chant between Twilight and Cadence, and she was just...
It may be because she was riding on her mother's head, and
That's probably.
Yeah, kind of had the same... I would imagine she kind of had the same reaction as Starlight and Trixie did, going, what are you doing?
Yeah, I kind of made a silent bet with myself. It's like, okay, Cadence is appearing. Who wants to bet that we're going to learn nothing else about her?
Yeah.
Well, this was her mandatory I still exist appearance.
Well, you know what? Here's a sort of a rebuttal to Cadence. Like, yes, she is underdeveloped, but then again, you kind of expect that of her because she's not a main protagonist. She's a guest character.
Oh, baloney. We've seen development from lots of secondary characters, including Princess Luna, who's had the best screen time of the
You're not biased.
pair-ups.
Bias!
I don't know. That's just how I choose
Or
to read
freaking
it.
Celestia.
She's had episodes now, thankfully.
Yes.
Cadence episode.
It's like Maud's gotten episodes.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, I can't accept that argument.
Okay, fair enough.
Right.
That's just how I choose to do it. So.
Yeah.
So, we saw a traveler from Saddle Arabia.
A stalker from Saddle Arabia.
I still think it's like Aeon's cousin or
It's
something.
Aeon's cousin. It's
The
gotta
color
be.
scheme is exact, and it is like this character is a dead ringer visually for.
Yeah, I know. I was just like,
Do we even know this character's name?
No.
I don't recall him ever being mentioned.
But he was exceptionally polite and exceptionally patient the entire episode.
Aeon, I think Hasbro's been watching you.
Yeah, I think Hasbro's been watching a lot of us lately because a lot of times we're getting all these OCs that remind us like a lot of our OCs. Like,
Right?
I saw someone. Thank you, whoever spoiled me for the washouts, showing me that one.
I haven't seen that yet.
Neither have
I
I.
haven't either.
yep.
I'll say this: if they're doing that, and they're doing that to Josh, if I see a pony with a lion tail in this series, I'm gonna have words with you, Hasbro.
But yeah,
Dear Hasbro,
but yeah,
what gives?
this unnamed traveler pony, like even if he did have a name, we probably missed it. But am I the only one that thinks he also was kind of a dead ringer designed from one of the main protagonists of Gurren Lagann?
Oh, Simon?
Yeah, Simon. You know, with the goggles, the sort of like the thing around his neck, like the fact he's in blue. I don't know. I was kind of vaguely making that connection. I mean, they referenced anime before, like Sailor Moon and Ranma and blah blah blah. So it's
It's a possibility.
a possibility. I don't know.
One thing I think this episode actually pulled off that rarely is seen in most every other episode, they set out to do something and end up not doing it, not reaching their destination.
Failure.
Have to actually turn back.
Which is why I like Starlight and Trixie.
I actually can appreciate that they actually set out to accomplish something grand and find out that maybe they're not ready to do
And
that
they're in
yet.
over their heads.
That's
They get up
okay
for it,
to
they
do
can
those
shoot.
kind of stories every now and then.
I don't know. I sort of have my own hang-ups on Starlight and Trixie as friends. I don't know. Just for me, like every episode I've seen them in, they just seem to just get on each other's nerves more than anything, and I'm like, really? This qualifies as friendship? I'm failing to see that.
Well, that's not. I mean, there's certain friendships that are like that. Like I have friends like that where we bicker and argue, but we're still friends.
I don't know. Just I've seen the two of them end up in more disasters, like especially like with all bottled up, no second prances and the like and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm failing to see the connection that they have.
I think I like their connection in the regards that they're still developing their friendship and they're still trying to figure out who they are as friends, what are their likes, what are their dislikes, and a lot of times you don't find out until you take a risk doing something like what they did, going on a road trip together or planning an event together. That's kind of how you find out the hard way whether you can get along with your friends or not, because you see them in situations, sometimes stressful situations, and then you have to ask yourself, are we really compatible as friends?
Yeah.
I
I
guess that's true, yeah.
I always thought it was the idea of like they're both misfits and they okay. Yeah, I thought it was the idea that they're both misfits and they're one of the only two people who will tolerate each other.
But,
I can believe
but
that.
this episode clearly showed that they had limits. Like, Trixie didn't like that Starlight apparently snores very loudly, and Starlight didn't like that Trixie talks in her
That is
sleep.
why you always. That's why whenever you're rooming someone that you don't normally that you've never roomed with before, always bring earplugs. You never know if they snore.
Yeah.
I have been to one too many brony cons where that has happened.
My point is that in order to figure that out, you have to you have to figure it out as you go, and when you realize, oh, okay, this isn't. So we just did this trip. I don't think it worked out very well. Maybe we could try again next time, but be better prepared.
If you put most any two people in such cramped circumstances and put on top of that there just isn't enough food to go around, that's going to make anyone cranky.
Very
It
Yeah.
will.
Although, here's a question. Which pony had the best smushed face?
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
Going down the line, you gotta vote Trixie or
Oh,
Starlight.
man, you have not had bad okay, guys. You have not had bad living conditions until you've used the phrase "a good rock" to describe a pillow.
oh.
Yeah, come on.
Yep.
We're going down the line. Best smush face, come on.
Starlight!
Choose the lesser of two evils, babe.
I gotta think about it. Go on. I'll think about it later.
I'm gonna say Trixie.
I'm gonna say Trixie, if she gives that indignant, can I do anything to make you more
Yeah.
comfortable?
I was thinking of that exact same thing. Cool.
Yes.
I can't decide. They were both funny.
All right.
Yes.
The-
Just yes. They're just walking, talking meme face generators at this point.
Though I have to say, like, throughout the, like, seeing them, like, sitting in the wagon, trying to sleep, squished together, I'm just like, this is my
there-
life growing
yeah,
up.
there's
Because I went on so many family road trips. All of us, like, me and my two other siblings, and my mom and my dad, all of us squished into this little minivan with, like, a cooler in our seat. So we have to pull our legs up and, like, pillows on one side, and it's just, like, completely cramped. And we're squished next to our siblings. And so it's, like, watching this, I'm just like, oh my god, they're reenacting my life, but in pony form.
Kind of makes our road trip from BronyCon from
Yes.
Texas back to California. That
Yeah.
kind of was like paradise compared to
Yeah,
that.
let me tell you guys a story about when I was growing up. My family would do the same trip from Chicago to Salt Lake City and back every summer.
Yeah,
And the
Oh.
way we do that is in a big van,
Mm-hmm.
8 people in one van.
Oh
Yeah.
Lord.
And we drive through the night.
Yeah,
And
we've
we were
done that
all
too.
trying to sleep in that van while driving through the night.
Oh
So,
no.
me being the second youngest of the family, I was always on the floor, sometimes even under the seat. So yeah, I can appreciate seeing a scene with
poor thing.
Trixie and Starlight.
Yeah, there was a lot of I feel your pains in this. Like, I've never really had problems like on the road trip itself, but whenever people try to sleep, it's like the snoring can get really. But it's never really happened on road trips. It's always happened at conventions. And like there was this one time I was. It's a KP. She hooked me up with a free room. And I was sleeping in this room. Then I wake up at 3 a.m. It was, and I could not go back to sleep. And I decided like, okay, maybe I could move to the bathroom. And I look into the bathroom, and I'm going to not describe what I saw in the bathroom for reasons that are not kosher for this channel. And so I decided to sleep in the closet.
Ouch.
It was the only way I could mitigate a little bit of the sound. And so that very same morning before opening ceremonies, I just went to the nearest pharmacy, grabbed some earplugs, jammed them in. It was so bad.
Some of us just have sensitive hearing. I can sleep through anything, thunder, a bomb, whatever. It's
I slept
light.
through tornadoes, and so that's Texas for you.
Yeah.
I am a very light sleeper myself.
Yeah,
wish
you've made that abundantly clear when
I'm
you,
sorry,
me,
I am
and
a
Josh were
very light
rooming at
sleeper.
BabsCon, and apparently I snore too, and I'm just,
You do.
Like a
I'm
grizzly bear.
just like, oh, God. Just rub it in my face, why don't you?
Honestly, babe, your snoring is not as bad. I've heard worse. Worse where it's like the point where the snoring actually shook the pictures on the wall. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how are you not awake?
Reminded me of your van story. I remember that we actually had a TV. We actually had one of those vans with a TV in it, and we also had one of those little outlets that you plug into the car batteries. We actually managed to play through the entirety of Legend of Zelda Wind Waker on one road trip.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah,
Wow.
everyone was just it's like, so yeah, all the kids were just watching me play Wind Waker, and my dad's like, you're not done with that game yet? And I'm looking at him, oh yeah, you don't know what Zelda's like.
How much of Wind Waker is spent just traversing the sea over and over and over?
Yeah, that was part of, that was one
It's like, is this a Zelda game, or is this just like a beefed up version of Balloon Boy? Or whatever that character's name is.
Yeah, we got way off topic, dude.
We are supposed to be talking about an episode here.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
Okay,
What
what?
other things did you want to say, Silver?
Well, love the song.
That's actually a good song.
Yeah, it was a really catchy
It
song.
actually wasn't that bad. It kind of reminded me of that one song from the Muppet movie. I keep on forgetting the name. Moving Right Along. It kind of sort of had that vibe to it. But and part of me is just thinking, like, especially like when Starlight is trying to head back, I'm just thinking to myself, teleport? You've been through this before?
Well, here's the thing. It's one thing to teleport yourself. It's another thing to teleport yourself in another pony. It's another thing to teleport yourself in a huge wagon that's like humongous.
It's also
I think
another.
Silver had a point though.
Yeah.
It's also another thing because, come on, the road trip experience, man. You gotta stop and smell the roses.
Yeah, I mean, like,
say, Silver.
yeah.
Let's see. One, that heavily burdened caravan could swing on vines. That's got to be a light frame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I have a question for all you fine folks at home, but I'm not going to answer it. Where do you think the Chimera was?
That was a good question. I asked that same question watching that
That's a
scene.
good point.
I know, but I'm not telling.
Oh.
Spoilers.
Oh. Okay.
I I'm diving into the pool early. That's all I can say.
Okay.
You're snake in the
Now you're
grass.
telling us something. Now we're gonna expect that for some future episode.
I'm not gonna say.
You
Unless you're messing with us.
I might be messing with you.
Okay.
Unless he's just messing with us and there is no chimera for the rest of the season.
All right.
I have cast the seeds of doubt.
All right. So,
But also, Starlight is the best Frogger player.
okay then.
You were jumping on gators through a swamp. Impressive.
Frogger.
I can remember during the episode, we watched Starlight and Trixie in their wagon going along this very tight corridor across the cliff and using magic to keep a couple of the wheels from going over until suddenly you see the magic stop and are like, wait, what?
And my thing with that is when they're tumbling over, they don't even notice that they're falling.
They're smiling, they're singing
They're
like,
singing, I'm like, they're falling.
like, is this truly not diegetic or what?
It's like from the original MLP movie, like from Gen 1. We're falling!
it's a moment that gets you out of the song and like, wait, what are you doing?
Right?
And then you go right back into, okay, I guess we're having fun again.
I guess it's like when you start singing, you're like immune to all danger. It's like that song for the SpongeBob movie. Now that we're men.
Okay.
We're men in tights.
But I will say this, as catchy as the song is and the visuals are really good, it still ain't no apples to the core.
No, it's not.
That's a better road trip song.
Yeah, honestly.
I like apples to
I give it props for trying, though.
Yes.
It was a good attempt.
Now, here's a question for you. How would you juxtapose this against The End and Friend? Think about it. You got 2 episodes, longtime friends who are finding out who are getting hung up on their differences and have to reconcile. New friends who are learning the intricacies. It's a nice contrast.
Yeah.
I honestly think I like this better because I feel that it's a tad more believable because, Starlight and Trixie haven't been friends nearly as long. They're venturing out on territory that they're grossly unfamiliar with, and there's a lot of things like all these little pinpricks that are driving down on them. Personally, I think it's more believable.
Plus, there was a scene before the breakup where Trixie swallows her pride and says, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That alone makes this a few steps above The End and Friend, in my opinion.
Wait, that's where she's shouting over the carrot. Well, I'm sorry.
No.
Okay.
There was a much more somber
And she was
scene.
genuinely sorry.
Okay.
There's a somber scene where she
Sorry, this is
says,
just
I'm
frustrating.
sorry.
I'm
This
just
is
so
frustrating.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
I didn't appreciate that.
I will give it props for that. There was a volcano about to erupt, but they cooled it down before it got too out of hand. But then
Interrupted later.
Then things just kept building up after that point. Some final thoughts.
I cannot believe that they actually reference there's no room at the inn. Okay, Christianity is canon.
Of course, sure.
Well, then Trixie said, heavens no.
Oh my gosh!
So does that make Celestia God then?
I don't know.
Let's not get into that.
Okay, fair enough. Sorry if I opened up the floodgates.
Okay. Any other final thoughts?
This for me was just like a mirror back into my childhood. Just like me and my siblings just riding in the car together and being squished and getting up in each other's grill, just going, "We're frustrated because we have no room." And so just like it was very nostalgic. Even though it's the first time watching it, it felt very nostalgic. For
Yes,
me.
that's the word. Nostalgic.
Yeah.
Who wants to take a road trip?
I've done a road trip this
I've done way too many this year already.
I love road trips. Let's do a road trip. Let's do it.
We'll do it after the wedding. Because
I think I'm a little too tall to enjoy being in a car for that long. I get cramped way too easy.
I know a few people that are taller than you that would also be probably more miserable than you.
Yeah.
Any other final thoughts?
Yeah, I'll say this much. As much as I don't like Trixie and Starlight, and I don't, I can't really get their dynamic, I will admit sometimes their interactions with each other can be pretty funny. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, maybe that's just my sick, twisted sense of humor, laughing at the fact that they're suffering.
Yeah.
But overall it was fun. It was okay. Not really like in my top 10 of this season, but it was alright.
It's still very enjoyable.
Yeah. What about you, Solar?
Oh, the shipping fiction that can come from this story.
Right. Oh my God, there were like too many frames where Trixie and Starlight were making sort of these poses, especially when Trixie was on Starlight's guidance counselor couch.
I don't know what to do.
Of course.
Aeon has an Arabian cousin.
Yes.
Now
Aeon
Starlight.
2.0.
Still don't know his name.
Right.
Now, Starlight, counsel me like one of your French ponies.
Solar, no!
Sorry.
You're just giving them fuel! When will it... Stop being the gas leak!
Some fans just want to watch the fandom ship.
Bliss! Any final words?
This podcast is no longer safe for Bliss.
Well, I had fun with it. It's always far more enjoyable when you can sit down and watch a new episode with other fans. You're laughing a lot more. And it's always much more memorable that way.
Yep.
I wish I could do that far more often, really. But it's about time that we get set up for CMPC this weekend.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, anything else before we close out?
Sunshine, sunshine, ladybugs away! Clap your hands and do a little shake! Woo!
And shipping.
Did we talk anything about Starlight and Trixie attempting to do their own little
Oh, yeah.
charm?
Okay, I will admit,
funny.
that was hilarious.
That was funny.
And the
That-
fact that the Saddle Arabian immediately could tell, yeah,
That was awful.
That was the worst thing ever. I could tell you were making it up on the spot. And only true friends would even attempt to do something that was that ridiculous.
Hey, Josh, it's like your one of your mantras. Life is a stage, so pratfall. It'll be hilarious.
Right.
Yes.
Alright, okay. Josh is still banging his head against the wall.
Okay, soldier, come here. Come here. Come on. Get back to. Come on. Get over. Get the. Bye.
Right off the wall!
See how much effort he's putting into this.
Okay.
I give up!
Alright.
Cut.
Until next time, I am Dr. Wolf, and...
I am Lightning Bliss!
Thespio.
Midnight Sonata!
I'm shipping.
And he's in pain.
he hates everything, apparently.
Good night.
We look forward to hearing from you.